Okay, we are live. It is a little bit later than I wanted to get over here tonight. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning. It's Sunday morning, 7/7/2024. And I'm going to do True Crime Weekly this week. I also want to touch base on a missing persons case, 1988, Susan Swedell. And then we'll go over some of the tropics, specifically on tropical storm right at this very second barrel. So let me play an intro and I'll be right back. Hope everybody's having a good night. Be right back. All right, so here we are. Hello, Dandy. How are you? Good to see you. Southern Gal's here. Mitzi Scott's here. Hi, Mitzi. How are you? Let's see. I think that's it for now. Yeah, Dandy's behind us by a couple hours here. She's still 11 o'clock for her. But we're here over on the boring East Coast, and it's absolutely gorgeous out. It's freaking my weather here. It's humid, still about 70 degrees. But I'm armed and ready. I got my mosquito zapper here, so we're good. Hope everybody's having a good night. I lost my train of thought. I was going to say, whatever. It's whatever. It's early Sunday morning here. True crime cases of the week here. I want to go over a case that I just came across out of Lake Elmo, Minnesota. But I just figured I'd start. Hold on a second. I'm going to do something really quick here since we have time. So, as everybody knows, I like birds, owls specifically. And 12 57 here, very hot and humid. Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous here. I like this humid weather. I think that, which is probably one of the reasons why I shouldn't be here in New Hampshire. But it's just gorgeous right now. It's dew points are probably still around 67, 70. It's very humid, so that's good for me. The only problem is these damn mosquitoes. And, they're like airplanes at this point. But I got the zapper. So, all right. So let's introduce my bird. This is everybody's bird, literally. But this is my guy here. This is the barred owl. I'll go into a little bit more depth down the road here, but these guys are everywhere, especially if you're in the Northeast, eastern part of the country. But they've migrated over to the northern, western part too. These guys are awesome. These are the guys that make the "Who Cooks for You, Who Cooks for You All" sound. Probably every neighborhood in America has a pair of these. Especially if you're in a wooded area. They're not really all that afraid of humans, but they come out at night. They're awesome, very, very smart birds. My guy. And of course, with all, especially raptors, owls, any type of predator bird, the female is always bigger than the male, but they're just awesomely cute. Their hearing is impeccable. They have a little bit of a different hearing than we do. They have ears that are kind of crossed with each other. They're not kind of in the same parallel that ours are. So they'll have an ear up here and an ear down here, so they can hear a lot more than we can. And that's how they hunt. You know, they have these guys usually hunt small rodents, mice, but they'll hunt anything really. Technically, anything that they can eat, they'll get. But normally, especially when they're breeding or have young, they'll try to go after moles and stuff because they swallow them whole. And but this guy is just super cute. Their eyesight is just amazing, but their hearing is just amazing too. All owls, their eyes are basically like frozen, so they can't see side to side, so they have to turn their head to see side to side. So if they're looking straight at something, they can't move their eyeballs to the right or to the left or up and down, so they have to turn their head. But this is my guy. This is my bird. And right about now here in New England, you're going to start hearing the yearlings that are just right now starting to get their new wings going. So if you hear like a really strange screech, like a hissing sound almost, that's the birds from this year's litter. They usually have like 2 or 3. So that's my bird. That's my guy. They're awesome. They're my birds. They're everywhere though. They're probably the most seen owl, other than maybe, especially if you live in the Northwest, you might see a lot of the great gray horned owl. We don't see those here. Very rare to see one of those here. But anyways, all right, let's get to yes, yep. Pygmy owls really, really small. The northern saw-whet owl is pretty small too. All right, so what we're going to do first is I'm going to go here. Let me I just saw this case too here, which is really disturbing again, and I'll play this here. A second here. Let's get rid of this guy. In fact, it's a pretty good time of the night here to hear one of these owls. But all right, so let me get out of this here, and I want to go to this case here. And unfortunately, this case is one of those cases that you hear about all the freaking time. And something needs to be done here because this can't happen. I mean, ankle monitor on it. But it does. This piece of dog shit was in the justice system for a while after he attacked this woman, apparently his girlfriend or something like that. And 7 months ago, he was in jail, and they bonded him out. The judge reduced his bond from, I think it was, $500,000 or so down to $150,000 or so, and he was able to bond out. And you see this all the freaking time, where the justice system just fails these people, and he got out, and of course, on a live tour. So let's.
I sat in the courtroom in Nashville and told the.
I mean, this shit's got to change. I don't know how they're going to change it, but you hear about this way too much.
The judge, they let him out. He was going to come kill her. This was probably the 5th time or 6th time in that time period where they get in a fight and he beat her and everything else. And they let her out, and they didn't tell us, and they didn't put the ankle monitor on her. They just let him walk out of jail.
Rivers walked out of jail Friday. The following Monday, Lance received this voicemail.
This is Bailey calling from the District Attorney's office here in Nashville. Bryson Rivers was released from custody. He was supposed to report straight to a GPS company and be put on a GPS monitor, and he was not to leave Davidson County. But as soon as he was released, he did not report to that GPS monitoring company, and he has not been heard from. So I want to make sure.
This is the stuff right here that just really pisses me off.
That Lauren is safe.
After listening to that message, Lance said he called his daughter to warn her that her alleged abuser was no longer behind bars.
Well, I called her. I didn't get a call, so I texted her, and I got a text back. It didn't really look like her the way she talks.
Early Tuesday morning, Lance received a notification that Lauren's Life 360 tracker was turned off. And then his other daughter, who was living with Lauren, said she wasn't there, and the security camera on their front door was destroyed. That's when Hattiesburg police were called to report Lauren missing. But Lance said that police waited until Wednesday to check the location of Lauren's car using OnStar. And when detectives called Lance to tell him,
I knew she was dead. When we got there, her car was out like in the middle of the cemetery. She was in the back of the car wrapped up in a bunch of sheets and trash bags, and she was basically beaten to death.
Oh my God. Oh, this is just so sad. It's so awful. Oh.
Her face was smashed in, her head was smashed in. She was just brutally beaten to the point she couldn't see out of either eye when she finally died. I helped the coroner lift her body out of the car. It was just mutilated.
Lance said he can't believe Rivers was let out of jail.
Can you imagine being the father? It's just so sad. It's so awful.
Jail with a reduced.
But unfortunately, you hear about this shit all the time. These scumbags get let out of jail, and you just know something bad's going to happen. This is just awful.
Bond and no monitoring system.
I think the criminal justice system in Nashville, Tennessee, failed my daughter and our family. The world shouldn't work this way. She had dreams and hopes that were larger than life, and the best quality of about her was that she had a really big heart and would do.
This is so depressing. It is just so. This guy should they should demand the DP for this guy, in my opinion.
Anything for anyone to help them out. Everything she did, everything she touched turned to gold, except for this guy.
We appreciate you making News Channel 9 your trusted source for local.
I mean, unfortunately, you hear about this shit all the time, right? It's, up to the discretion of the judge, right? And this judge just decided to let this bastard out of jail, right? And from what's 150, so that would be 10%. I mean, that's not a lot. Anybody can probably get that. And as soon as he gets out, he looks for her, and there's nothing. There's nothing you could do. It's just horrible. it's just such a sad thing. All right, I'll play another one here. Give me a second. I think this is different. Right, hold on a second. Let me stop that there. I just saw this right here today.
In Operation Crime and Justice, a 22-year-old woman is murdered, according to sheriff's deputies in Mississippi. Lauren Johansson's boyfriend, Bryson Rivers, is now charged with killing her. Tonight, Fox 17 News is uncovering that Rivers was recently.
So this was done 1 day ago.
Behind bars in Nashville, charged for beating Johansson during a trip here, according to Nashville police. Now, he was let out of jail just over a week ago after a judge here in Nashville lowered his bond. Lauren Johansson's family now grieving her death after she was reported missing days ago. Wednesday, the Harrison County, Mississippi sheriff says her car was found near a cemetery.
Through OnStar, they located the vehicle here at this.
I don't know what you could do, man, to a judge that allows that to happen. Just, I don't want to be blaming people for, this guy's actions, but, I think one of these clips I'm going to play has the entire list of what this guy, his rap sheet,
Cemetery, and they asked us to come out and just check on the vehicle.
As deputies arrived, they say they spotted a man running from the car. They also made a heartbreaking discovery.
There was a deceased subject in the back of the vehicle.
An intense manhunt followed. Investigators tracked down boyfriend Bryson Rivers in a wooded area 8 hours later. He's now charged with Johansson's murder. Rivers has a violent criminal history. Metro Police arrested him this past December after they say he brutally beat Johansson after the pair left a bar on a trip to Music City. Johansson nearly losing consciousness. Investigators say officers saw Rivers reaching for a gun in the back seat of the car, but they were able to.
See, that's what I'm talking about, man. Too bad. It's just too bad that he put the weapon down because scumbags like this here.
To stop him. He was charged with multiple felonies.
Okay, so case details, 2023, reason trial, 2023, 2018. This is all his probation, restitution. Just this guy should have never been let out of jail.
Including aggravated
felonies there, incarceration. I'll have to look at this a little bit closer, but just a bird's eye view of this guy here,
kidnapping and stalking. But after 7 months, a Davidson County judge reduced his bond from $251,000 to $150,000. The district attorney's office tells Fox 17 News they opposed any bond reduction at 2 different hearings. On June 24th, Rivers was able to post the lowered bond and get out, heading back to Mississippi. Just over a week later, he's now accused of killing Lauren Johansson. And Rivers' bond is now set at $1 million. This comes after a series of reports by Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier on the impact of low or reduced bond here in Nashville. Metro Police Chief John Drake saying this past April, after one of our reports, that because of low bond and lack of accountability, he says criminals are back on the streets quickly to reoffend.
Unbelievable. Right, I'll stop that. I'll play one more and then we'll move on to something else. It's just embarrassing. It's just the whole system, the whole domestic abuse thing needs to be completely revamped, relooked at. It's just, you hear about this stuff all the time. And people say the same thing all the time. Why didn't you just leave them? This is what happens, because it's not like you could stop these guys, not with the way the judicial system's set up now. It's almost like you get slapped on the hand and you get sent back out. It's just awful. It's terrible. That's the reason why I'm here, honestly. All right, let me play this one here. Where the hell am I? Probably it's okay. Right here. I'll try to turn this down. It's sad. All right, here's this
criminal
one.
justice system. Thank you for joining us.
Oop.
On a GPS monitor.
County Jail without her family knowing. I'm Tracy Cornett. And I'm Marius Payton.
This computer here tonight is giving me a hard time, so I apologize. Hold on a second. I'll play this from the beginning here.
Lauren Johansson is now dead after her boyfriend was let out of the Davidson County Jail without her
So this news report was done 21 hours ago.
family knowing, and he crossed state lines.
I like that tie.
He's now accused of killing Johansson, which is what her family wanted to prevent in the first place.
Our Marissa Sulik spoke with Johansson's dad today about how this was failure after failure.
Lauren was one of the kindest, sweetest young women that you could ever meet.
Although he's too emotional to go on camera, Lance Johansson will tell you his daughter.
It shouldn't be that way. It just shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be, people are allowed to live their life regardless of whether or not they're in a relationship. They should be allowed to leave a relationship. There should be stiffer penalties on any type of this stuff here. But it's just like a wrist slap. They don't take it seriously. They just don't.
Daughter, 22-year-old Lauren Johansson, was the most beautiful and caring person he knew. She was dating Bryson Rivers, the star football player from high school. He became a man her dad didn't want Lauren to be around.
We thought he was out of our lives forever.
Rivers was in a Davidson County jail just last week. He was accused of kidnapping and beating Lauren back in December when they came to Nashville on vacation.
Told the judge and the DA and all the members in the court system that if you release him, he's going to kill her.
This week, Lauren's body was found wrapped in a sheet inside a car at this Mississippi cemetery. Rivers is now charged with her death, but Lance Johansson says they weren't aware he was even out of jail until it was too late.
No one called us and ever told us they were having a new hearing to reduce the bond.
Really? So you were never aware of that?
We had no idea.
The Davidson County District Attorney's Office says Rivers' bond was reduced from $251,000 to $150,000. He was let out of jail on June 24th. 4 days later, Lance says the Davidson County District Attorney's Office left him a voicemail he didn't see until July 1st.
This is Bailey calling from the District Attorney's Office here in Nashville. Bryson Rivers was released from custody. He was supposed to report straight to a GPS company and be.
I mean, it's just like, what are you supposed to do, even if they, alert you that this person's been released from jail? I mean, it's at that point it adds more stress, I would think, to your life. And now he's out. It's just a bullshit system, man. It just needs to be changed completely. I have absolutely no respect for any person, guy or girl, but it seems like the majority of it's one-sided, right? Absolutely no respect for any guy that does this shit. It's just, of course, I grew up with two sisters, and it was me and my father had an agreement a long time ago that not to touch our sisters. Believe me, trust me, sometimes I wanted to, but I think that's where a lot of this shit comes from. I really do. We knew not to, and we respected women too. I mean, it's just these days here. There's no such thing. It sucks.
Put on a GPS monitor, and he was not to leave Davidson County. But as soon as he was released, he did not report to that GPS monitoring company, and he has not been heard from. So I want to make sure that Lauren is safe.
Voicemail says that the man's on the way to kill your daughter. It's basically what that means.
He had enough time to go to another country and commit this murder.
Michael Collins
No shit.
is a criminal justice educator in Shelby County. He says in domestic situations, an ankle monitor is essential.
This person should have been monitored prior to him being released from that lockup facility. And there's no excuse for why he couldn't have been.
Had someone made sure Rivers had a tracker on him, Lance believes Lauren would still be here. Do you believe this would have happened if he actually had an ankle monitor on?
Well, if he had an ankle monitor on and things were done properly, I think that there's almost no way possible this could have.
It's just no excuse. This poor person, you know, just, oh, it's just so sad. It's so awful. Ugh.
Happened.
In that.
That was our Marissa Sulik reporting. Now, we asked the Davidson County Sheriff's Office how they ensure a defendant is given an ankle monitor before they are released. They sent us to General Sessions Court, who sent us to the state trial court, who we have not heard back from.
Yeah, it's just, you know, it's just awful. Just terribly sad. You know, and the thing is that, you know, a lot of this shit can be prevented, right? It's not, but you can't prevent anything if, you have a system in place like this where it's just it's just awful. All right, moving on to something else. I want to play this. I played a little bit of this last night. I want to thank everybody for coming in, by the way. Southern Gal is a true gem. I saw her tonight on Mr. Steve's Live with the Evansdale thing. She's a great person. And if nobody knows who she is, which I don't think there is anybody, but if you don't, please go check her out on Southern Gal True. She'll post her thing in here. If anybody has a channel in here, I'm not one of those people that get upset if people post their channels. The more we can get the word out on some of these cases, the better. Yeah, I don't know how he didn't have a monitor either, but I don't think that would have stopped him, to be honest with you. He was on a mission to you know, that's the thing. When you put these guys in jail, sometimes it pisses them off even more. And then, you know, this guy should never have been let out of prison. He should have been in there for a long time. They never notified a family member. Guys did 3 years for our, and got out and went on to do it. Yeah, it's just sad. You can't do this stuff if you're gonna go all the way, right? And go through the whole justice system and put these guys behind bars. You got to keep them there. You can't. They're not going to get any better. Just all right. So let me share this here. This is it's another one of those domestic abuse things here with the missing Flagstaff woman. I posted this. I did a live on this this morning, earlier yesterday, I think it was. But they found her remains, and they copped a plea deal with the husband or the boyfriend, the husband, and they gave him a whopping 16 years. But I've done some thinking on this because yesterday morning when I did my last live, I kind of got on them for the 16 years. But he is 58, so I figure in 16 years he'll be in his 70s. So I mean. But just to set a precedent, 16 years to me is, again, it's a slap on the wrist. It's you unalive somebody and you only get 16 years. It's just, I may be wrong, but I just think that's embarrassing.
After days of searching, the remains of a missing Flagstaff mom have been found, and her husband has confessed to her murder. Our Marissa Sarback is in the high country tonight with the new developments from police.
Earlier today, we reached an agreement in which.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, now these people, you know, the victims' families have to live with this for the rest of their life. It's not like their life is going to magically become any better. It's just so horribly sad. It's just, and honestly, you know, that's why I do this shit. Because other than that, I mean, this is. You know, this is awful to talk about this stuff here. I mean, hey, Barbara, how are you? Good to see you. Barbara's here. Barbara's in the house. You know, these families will never be the same. This guy here ruined a ton of lives, not to mention the life that was taken, but the poor father, the poor mother, all of this shit here, just awful. I agree. Oh, yep, I'm sorry. Let me throw that up here. All right, let me play this here. This is the missing Flagstaff woman here again, and I'll stop talking.
The defendant, Daniel Padachowski, pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, tampering with physical evidence, concealment of a dead body, and possession of dangerous drugs.
6 days after Daniel Patachowski reported his wife Kelly missing from their Flagstaff home, the Coconino County Sheriff's Office and Flagstaff Police Department say he confessed to her murder. The plea deal, announced on Friday, includes 16 years behind bars with no possibility of parole.
As part of that agreement, the defendant provided information leading us to Kelly Patachowski, the deceased victim, led us to her phone, her car keys, and the murder weapon.
Detectives conducted an interview Friday afternoon where they say Daniel laid out the timeline of what he did to Kelly, when and where. On June 30th at about 8 o'clock at night, Flagstaff police say Daniel called to report Kelly's disappearance. He told them she came here to Lake Mary to go for a swim and a run, but never returned. Police say 3 hours later, Kelly's family found her car here at the Campbell Mesa trailhead. Immediately, the Coconino County Sheriff's Office and Yavapai County Sheriff's Office both sent out rescue teams to search for Kelly. Court paperwork detailed neighbors who said they saw Kelly lying face down and motionless with Daniel on top of her in the backyard.
We asked our
and nobody called anybody. Nobody did anything. Please don't report you. Barbara Hall is an amazing person. Justice for Timothy Dees here is scrolling on the bottom, and we are always, Barbara Hall is always part of us, our thoughts, everything. So this is another one of those cases. He pleads the second degree unaliving. It's just
community for information about Daniel.
It just teaches people that you can technically get away with this stuff. I mean, 16 years, what the hell is that? I understand he's 58 and he'll probably be in his late 70s by the time he gets out, but still, the person that he unalived is never going to get out. I mean, it's sad. It's embarrassing. And they're all happy that they got him and all of this stuff. And I get it. They found her. They used him to find her remains and stuff like that. But 16 years? Really?
Vehicles on Sunday, June 30th. And we're able to build this case based on Flagstaff coming together as a community and giving us.
I'd report her. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, you're welcome, Barbara. Sometimes I forget to do things because I spilt my coffee earlier, so I had to make one here, and that's why I was so late getting on, because I had to pick up coffee everywhere. Miss Barbara Hall is an amazing person, just an amazing person.
Great information and evidence.
The Flagstaff police chief calling this a monumental tragedy.
Since the moment I sat in the living room with Kelly's family, I cannot tell you how impressed I have been with their strength and their resolve in handling this incredibly tragic situation.
At least one question still remains. Why was Kelly Patachowski murdered? Reporting in Flagstaff, Marissa Sarback, ABC 15, Arizona.
All right, so let me see here. I want to play another one of those. Give me a second here. I wanted to do a little bit more on the Angela Diaz case too, from Texas, but I'll play this one here. This is the press conference here of that case. Let me share this. But I couldn't find any more information about that. So that's not good. So this is the press conference for that, the Flagstaff woman here. This is after they found her. So this was done yesterday. I played this morning too, yesterday morning.
Everyone ready to get started? Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us here at the Flagstaff Police Department. My name is Charles Hernandez, and I'm a lieutenant with the Flagstaff Police Department. Today, we're here to provide an update regarding the investigation involving Mrs. Kelly Patakowski. And you will hear from Flagstaff City Mayor Becky Daggett. You'll also hear from Flagstaff Police Chief Sean Connolly, and then Senior Attorney from the Coconino County Attorney's Office, Michael Tunick.
I hope everybody had a good July 4th. Technically, it's still July 4th weekend, so, but I hope everybody had a good July 4th.
Will provide a statement. However, he will not take questions at this time. And then we will also hear from Operations Deputy Chief Colin C. So you've all been provided a list of who's going to speak. At this time, I'd like to invite Mayor Becky Daggett to provide her words.
Thank you. First off, I would just like to express our sincere condolences to Kelly's family and to her many friends, and to thank law enforcement for their professionalism and their diligence in this case. It was handled the way any of us would wish that a case involving a loved one of ours would be handled. So thank you.
July 4th here is a little different than it used to be. I don't really do much. Years ago, we used to go down to Boston and see the fireworks. Boston has some of the best fireworks in the world, in my opinion, but I just can't stand those crowds anymore. I just can't do it. It's not worth it. I can just Google it right here. I can watch it right here. It's not the same, obviously, than being in the Hatch Shell down in Boston and watching it. But, and I don't drink anymore, so it's like, all right, enough of me.
And lastly, to our community who stepped in and stepped up to help and help stretch resources, search and rescue resources. Thank you to this community that always shows up. So thank you.
So I think what happened is he reported her missing 2 days after she went missing. And then they basically arrested him, I think, right away, pretty close after that, because of the witness statements about seeing him and her in a fight. And then they must have, got him to admit to it. And that's how they found her, I think.
Thank you, Mayor. It means a lot coming from you. We appreciate it very much. Good afternoon. Love, strength, and condolences. So on behalf of every member of this amazing and elite police department, we want to send you our condolences, our strength, and our love, not only to community, but to Kelly and her entire family and all her friends. Since the moment I sat in the living room with Kelly's family, I cannot tell you how impressed I have been with their strength and their resolve in handling this incredibly tragic situation. So on behalf of all of us, we just want to pause for 1 second and make sure we recognize this incredible family and this incredible woman and her children.
I'm assuming they made a deal with the family too. They probably called the family in and said, look, this is what we got. I don't think they probably would have done that without that.
Children and how strong they have been through this entire process. They've been a gift to us as we embarked upon this. I also want to make sure it's understood very clearly that nothing in this profession of policing happens in a silo or by any one individual or any one organization. This is the ultimate team sport when it comes to collaboration. And I want to thank the Coconino County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Driscoll. I want to thank the Yavapai Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Rhodes. I want to make sure I thank the Department of Public Safety on the back end. And just thanks to everybody in all of these organizations for their steadfast work. It's been 6 days since we received this first call and the Coconino County Sheriff's Office responded. And so let this be a testament and a demonstration to everybody in this community, this amazing community, about the resolve and the commitment and the aptitude of the men and women that on a daily basis go out and perform this noblest of professions.
Why did that volume just jump down like that? They must have lowered the sound on their end. What's awful? I hope Miranda Lee's doing all right. Haven't seen her for a while.
And then the reason we do all of this is for our community. And you heard the mayor speak about this. We would not be here if it were not for our community. And I cannot tell you how impressed we all are with the amount of information that has flowed into this organization from this community, the amount of interest and compassion. I was at the barber, I've been at the dry cleaners, I've been to restaurants and businesses, and this has been on everybody's mind. And so when communities are not indifferent and they are engaged at this level, these are the outcomes that you have. I have to pause too and just want everybody to recognize the amount of work it takes to get to this point. When you look at the prowess of this investigative team here at the Flagstaff Police Department in partnership and interwoven into the patrol division here, it is incredibly impressive. It is incredibly impressive. And so I personally and all of us in leadership.
Did you have a live tonight, Southern Cal? Because if you did, for some reason, I'm not getting any notifications. Because usually you have a, I thought usually I have it live on Saturday night, but I didn't see it. Sorry. I saw the upload you did.
Leadership in the city and in this police department. Just want to make sure that this investigative team that you see over here, that is where justice happens on behalf of Kelly as a victim in this community. So thank you. Thank you, everybody. And I appreciate it so much. So with that, let me introduce Senior Attorney with the Coconino County Sheriff's Office, Michael.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Tunick. I'm the senior.
Is she okay? I know she's going through quite a bit. Oh, you had a video premiere. Cool. I think I saw that. I think I liked it. Not sure. I hope she's doing well. Just, you know, thoughts go out to her. She's dealing with a lot right now for sure.
Criminal attorney at the Coconino County Attorney's Office, and I'll be reading from a prepared statement today. Earlier today, we reached an agreement in which the defendant, Daniel Padachowski, pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, tampering with physical evidence, concealment of a dead body, and possession of dangerous drugs. This agreement requires the defendant to serve a 16-year term.
When he said that, when I played this, my last live, I literally almost fell out of my freaking chair here. 16 years. Oh yeah, that's right. This, I don't want to pronounce his name, but the Z Walker case. Yep. Yep. Yeah, we definitely thinking about Miranda Lee for sure. Great person.
In the Arizona Department of Corrections, which is the presumptive sentence for second-degree murder.
If anybody wants a wrench, let me know. Why doesn't Barbara Hall have a wrench? Especially if you have, you know, channels you want to post, channels you like. You don't have to do anything with the wrench. It's just, you know, just in case you want to post some shit.
Under Arizona law. Defendant must serve every day of this sentence and is not eligible for early release of any kind. As part of that agreement, the defendant provided information leading us to Kelly Padachowski, the deceased victim. Led us to her phone, her car keys, and
I mean, they couldn't have rounded it up to 20, right? At least 20, 16. I mean, I don't know who's doing the negotiations there, but I would have just started at like 30 and then work down from there. Okay, we'll give you 30 years with the possibility of parole after 25, right? But did they just go to 16? Where did they get that number from? I don't know.
And the murder weapon. Defendant further agreed to an interview, which was completed this afternoon. In that interview, he answered all questions posed about the sequence of events and about his actions on June 30th, 2020.
That sucks. That sucks. It's not easy to deal with that stuff, that's for sure.
4. This agreement is the culmination of many hours of work between Coconino County Search and Rescue, Flagstaff Police Department, and the Coconino County Attorney's Office. We appreciate the thorough and really exemplary investigation done by the Flagstaff Police Department.
Yeah, right? I mean, one can only hope. I mean, just the whole thought of unaliving somebody years ago used to mean so much. Now it's just like, I mean, I know, I get it, 58, you know, they probably would have had a hard time finding her remains and stuff like that, but, you know, 16 years, really? That's just embarrassing. That's horrible.
And the Coconino County Sheriff's Office, who also assisted with us. And that investigation.
Yes, Mind of Monsters is awesome. She's a wonderful person. She has a great channel. Just like Frankie. Frankie the Think Tank, she's awesome too. But Mind of Monsters is great too. All of these channels, of course, Mr. Steve, True Crime Web, Kristen Behind the Crime Door, all of these channels are awesome.
Really made this resolution possible. This is obviously a monumental tragedy for Kelly's family and her loved ones. We've been in close communication with Kelly's family throughout this process about this resolution, which we pursued to bring finality in a situation that has weighed heavily on this community. As the criminal case is still ongoing, our office will not be answering further questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
I know one of my questions would have been, why did you settle on 16? I mean, what makes 16 the magical number? Is that like the lowest you could go on a second degree unaliving charge? I don't know. It's just a weird number.
Tunick, I'm Colin C. I'm the Deputy Chief of Operations for the Flagstaff Police Department. It truly is an honor to serve the men and women of this operations division who investigated this case this week. I'm going to give you an operational overview of the week for the Flagstaff Police.
Honeybee is fantastic too. Honeybee she does a really good job with, the Flora case. She's just an absolutely wonderful person.
Police Department. And by first, I'd like to reiterate the condolences for Kelly Patakowski and her family and our Flagstaff community that loved her. Our number one priority in this case the entire time was to locate Kelly and bring her back to her family. I'd also like to personally thank all the members of the Flagstaff Police Department who came together and worked long hours this entire week to bring this investigation to where it is now. On the evening of June 30th, around 8 p.m., the defendant in this case and the husband of Kelly, Daniel Patakowski, called the Flagstaff Police Department Communications Center to make them aware of his wife being missing in the area of Lake Mary. And she was supposed to be.
In fact, thank you, Southern Gal. I may do another live next week on the since Mr. Steve and Ruckus had a great live tonight on the Evansdale case. I might go try to revisit that case next week. That's one of those cases, along with the Floor 4 and Timothy D's and some of the other cases that I follow a lot. That's one that needs to be solved. Thank you, Southern Girl. Kristen's awesome too.
Be on a run and a swim in the area. This statement was later discovered to be an attempt to misdirect police resources. Kelly's family was able to locate Kelly's vehicle at the Campbell Mesa Trailhead, which is located on the opposite side of town, approximately 3 hours from the original call from Daniel. This led to the activation of the Coconino County Sheriff's Office Search and Rescue Division. Search and rescue operation immediately commenced, which involved nearly 50 search and rescue members from the Coconino County Sheriff's Office and the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office. This operation included ground searches, mountain bike searches, search dogs, drone technology, and the Department of Public Safety helicopter, all in an attempt to locate Kelly. There were approximately 60 registered community members who registered.
You're so awesome, Southern Girl. Thank you very much for doing that. It'd take me literally forever to get these channel names here and post them in here, but I appreciate that. You're awesome.
With our search and rescue team to attempt to locate Kelly, and countless other searchers from our community who are out trying to search for Kelly this entire week. In the morning hours of July 1st, our Criminal Investigations Division made discoveries at the Patakowski shared residence that turned this case into a homicide investigation. And then Kelly had probably either been seriously hurt or possibly killed by Daniel in this case. We asked our community for information about Daniel or Kelly and their vehicles on Sunday, June 30th, and we were able to build this case.
They literally had this guy on CCTV on his bike or whatever, so they pretty much knew he was involved. It just they wanted to find her, and when you're out in Arizona here, the bodies could be anywhere. So you know, I understand that's probably why they did the plea deal, but you know, like I said, I would have started at like 30 and then you work down from there, you know.
It's based on Flagstaff coming together as a community and giving us great information and evidence. Our detectives were able to leverage technology in this case, which matched the multiple witness accounts of Daniel's movements on Sunday, June 30th. Earlier today, and sadly, our detectives learned of Kelly's location, and we also discovered critical items of evidence in this case. We regrettably learned that Kelly had been a victim of homicide by her husband, Daniel, which pains each and every member of this organization and community. The Flagstaff community came together with its police department to solve this case. It could not have been done without our community. We humbly and proudly serve this great community, and this is an example of how quickly we can come together as one strong community. Thank you, and I can answer a couple questions if you have any.
Was anyone else arrested in this investigation?
No, ma'am.
Were there any 911 calls early on? And I know the timeline has it, but there was a struggle in the backyard. Was there any 911 calls during that time?
No.
When is it possible for us to get like a full timeline of everything that happened?
We'll probably be releasing that.
So I usually get 2 iced coffees so I can stay the hell awake at night. Got them home, put one out here, and I went to go grab it, and it spilt all over the freaking place. So I had to rustle up and make one here, and it's probably the worst coffee I've ever had in my life, but I'm drinking it, so yuck.
Probably in the weeks to come as the investigation unfolds.
I know you guys aren't releasing it.
It's just terrible. I did something wrong. Yes, that's another great, yes, lighting the way home too, for sure. So if you hear me saying yuck in the background, that's why. I'm drinking my coffee here. It's just awful. It's just terrible. Ugh.
Exactly where the investigation and where she was found for the investigation. Was it in one of the areas where Daniel reported it originally, or was it?
Yeah, I can tell you, we received information from the kid that did put Daniel in one side of the Flagstaff community, and she was located on that side of the community.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's Karen Lee. Hey, Karen Lee, how are you? Good to see Karen Lee in here. Karen Lee's awesome. Hope things are going well over there at in Manimals Chat. I'll probably be over there later to cause trouble. Karen Lee's awesome. I think Karen Lee was actually my first sub.
And I'll close with we do again
So if you want to blame somebody for my channel, blame her. Just kidding. That's not even funny. I'm sorry. That's terrible. Yeah, I know you're busy. I know you're a very busy person, Karen Lee. I get it. Just read this here. Hold on a second. Nobody DP until the last 3 years. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I definitely, it's not like I'm against the DP for any nefarious reason. I just think, if they're going to do the the DP, they ought to just do it, right? Like, but the problem with the DP is it's up for an immediate appeal, right? You got to, and it, it always seems to get into the point where, they're going to appeal it. And it goes on forever and ever and ever. And the family's got to go through this forever and ever and ever. And at the end of the day, they're just going to reduce it to life in prison. So, well, thank you. Thank you, Southern Gal. I didn't even pay her to say that. You're deep into the Karen Reed thing. Yeah, that case, the Karen Reed thing is going to go on forever. That's, but I think they got the verdict right the first time. That's just my opinion. Yeah, Karen Lee is awesome. She's a moderator over there at Chris and the Mob Crew. She also does Manimal Reacts. Manimal Reacts is awesome guy. But what was I saying about the DP? So if they did the DP and they actually did it and it didn't have to take so long, I'm all for it. And but it's just a nightmare for the victims and the victims' families because now they got to sit through the whole thing again. It's just it's awful.
Reiterate our condolences for the Patakowski family. We will have reports in a limited fashion available for pickup.
And I think lethal injection is an easy way out. It's just my opinion. I mean, the way they brutally unalive these people, right? And to just get a LI, this is probably going to be triggering. It's just it's an embarrassing way out. It's like this. You don't want to know my opinion on what I think the death penalty should be.
The retrieval from the press. And if you have any other questions, reach out to our public information office. And thank you for coming.
Karen Lee's awesome. Karen Lee is can't say anything but nice things about Karen Lee. She's just a great person. Thank you, Karen Lee, for coming in. Appreciate. I know you're busy. All right, so what was I going to do next? Hold on a second. I do want to play this too because this was done 11 hours ago. This is I don't know if anybody has ever heard about this case, but this Ohio woman that pled guilty to unaliving teen girl in a house fire. But I just wanted to update people on this. So hold on a second, and then we'll get into. Thank you, Karen Lee. Yes, it's definitely a waste of taxpayers' money because, it's always going to be the same thing. Just, just like the whole Manson case. They all of those people were supposed to get the DP, right? They were all of them were supposed to just. You were never gonna hear about them again. And then a few years later, everybody got their DP revoked, and you're like, I don't know how people can get away with unaliving people that brutally. I mean, how the hell does that happen? And then a few short decades later, they start going against the parole board, and then one of them gets out. It's like, how does this happen? I mean, how does that? Oh, it's just sad. They brutally unalived those people in that house. I don't know if anybody's ever heard about the Manson case, but it's just those people were awful, and none of them got the death penalty. None of them, not one person. It's so sad. It's awful, terrible. All right, enough of my soapbox here. It's just terrible. If anybody deserves it, it's that family right there. Okay, so here's this here. Okay, so this person here, let me see if I can get people up to date on this. Patricia Zarlingo pled guilty to aggravated unaliving, aggravated arson, and other charges in the 2023 Ohio house fire, unaliving of a 16-year-old Chastity Broadstone. Zarlingo was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 35 years. So here we go. Let me rewind this a little bit.
Lingo, I have to go over your constitutional rights to make sure you understand the effect of waiving them by entering a guilty plea here today. Do you understand? Can you please state your name for the record? Mr. Lingo, are you currently under the influence of drugs or alcohol that cause your judgment to be impaired? Can you read and write the English language? Are you a U.S. citizen? Have you ever served in the military? Mr. Lingo, I'm showing you a document that says finding a guilty plea to the amended indictment. This represents a resolution in the case between you, your attorneys, and the state of Ohio. I want you to understand.
I mean, I think the Manson trial went 7 months. I think it was a 7-month trial. Hey, get a look. See, how are you? Good to see you. They thought they did something right. They got a conviction of all these people, and they were able to convict Manson for the DP2, because technically I don't think he really unalived anybody. So it was a great win, right? It was a great win that all these people were going to leave society. But unfortunately, nobody got anything. I know Manson died in prison, but
Something. Just because you guys have come to a resolution, the court does not have to adopt these findings and may proceed at sentencing as the court deems appropriate. Do you understand?
So that's the only thing I have against the DP, because it just never, it's just never the end. It's be great if it was. Like the Chad Duerman case, everybody knows he unalived his 3 kids, right? Everybody knows he was sitting there on the stoop with the weapon right next to him. When the cops arrived, everybody knows he did it. There isn't one person that, he did it. This should be fast-tracked right to a DP, period. End of story. But it's not going to work that way, because now he recanted his confession, and now they're going to claim he's insane. It's awful.
Understand that? With that knowledge, you still wish to go forward. So I understand you're going to change your plea from one of not guilty to aggravated murder, felony of violating 29.
The guy who prosecuted the Manson case, in my opinion, is one of the greatest prosecutors that ever lived, because to get a DP charge on a guy that never technically really unalived anybody, and the entire family, the commune there, because Manson was a madman, literal madman, and 7 months of trial, 7 months of testimony, for nothing, because nobody paid the price. And one of them just got released from prison not too long ago, I think a couple of years ago.
903.018 and G. Count 3 and 4, which is attempted aggravated murder, which is a felony of the first degree, and aggravated arson, a felony of the first degree, aggravated arson on count 6, a felony of the second degree, aggravated burglary, felony of the first degree, tampering with evidence, a felony of the third degree. Is that correct? With count 2, aggravated murder, you could get life in prison with parole eligibility after serving 24 years, life in prison, or you could get.
Yeah, but Al Capone had one of the most miserable lives in in prison. Like he really, you know, because of natural causes, of course, but he got what he got, you know, for natural causes. He suffered a lot in jail. That's probably better than any. He got probably better than any LI. That's for sure. He didn't have a good time in prison.
Life imprisonment with parole eligibility after serving 25 years, or life imprisonment with the parole eligibility after serving 30 years, or life in prison without the possibility of parole and up to a $25,000 fine. Prison term for this offense is presumed necessary and is mandatory. Counts 3 and 4, attempted aggravated murder, you could get up to an indefinite sentence, minimum of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11 years, into a maximum of 16 and a half years, which maximum is the minimum term actually imposed at sentencing plus half the imposed term and up to a $20,000.
I mean, unfortunately, right now, the victim, the main victim in the, not the first unaliving by the Manson family, but the second one, when they unalived all those people in the house with the pregnant one. I forget her name. What the hell was her name? How can I forget her name? But that was probably, I mean, one of the most brutal unalivings ever. I mean, they just went in there and just, they unalived somebody in a car just for being there. I mean, he had nothing to do with that. He's, Leslie Van Houten was released. Yes. Thank you, Sellingo. So it's just, you know, for none of them to get, you know, it's sad.
Or fine. Prison is presumed necessary, but is not mandatory. Aggravated arson, felony of the first degree, you could get up to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11 years, up to a maximum of 16 and a half.
I mean, even this case right here is horrible. This is a horrible case. Poor kid.
Years, which maximum is the minimum term actually imposed at sentencing plus half the imposed term and up to a $2,000 fine. Prison is presumed necessary, but it's not mandatory. Count 6, aggravated arson, felony of second.
Didn't he die of hepatitis or something? Or I forget. He had something, and he literally rotted in jail, like prison, that guy Capone.
Degree, you could get up to a minimum. You could get,
and he deserved it,
an indefinite prison term with the minimum of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 years, up to a maximum of 12 years, which the maximum is the minimum term actually imposed at sentencing, plus half of the imposed term and up to a $15,000 fine. The underlying offense is presumed necessary for prison, but is not mandatory. Count 7, aggravated burglary, felony of the first degree. You could get up to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11 years to a maximum of 16 years, which maximum is the minimum term actually imposed at sentencing, plus half the imposed term, and up to a $20,000 fine. Prison for this offense is presumed necessary, but is not mandatory. Tampering with evidence, felony of the third degree. You could get 9, 12, 18, 24, 30, or 36 months and up to a $10,000 fine.
He had, he had syphilis, I think. Sharon Tate, thank you, Karen Lee, not Karen Lee, Sellingo. Yeah, he had syphilis though. I think for years. It didn't unalive him, but he had a stroke. I think that's what pretty much did him in. But he had syphilis for, you know, couldn't be a better thing for him, in my opinion.
If you wanted in this case, you could have a trial by jury. That means the court would impanel 12 people to hear your case. All 12 would have to find to their unanimous satisfaction that the state of Ohio proved beyond a reasonable doubt in count 2 that you did attempted aggravated murder, that you did knowingly engage in conduct in Trumbull County, Ohio, that if successful would constitute or result in the offense of aggravated murder. This is counts 3 and 4 of the attempted aggravated murder. Did purposely cause the death of another, to wit, Layla Broadstone and Jasmine Monique Dickey, while committing or attempting to commit or while fleeing immediately after or attempting to commit kidnapping, rape, aggravated arson, aggravated robbery, aggravated burglary, trespass in a habitation when another person is present or likely to be present, terrorism, or escape in Trumbull County, Ohio. As to count 2, the aggravated murder, the state of Ohio would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she did in Trumbull County, Ohio, to purposely and with prior calculation and design cause the death of Chastity Broadstone in Trumbull County, Ohio. As to count 5, the state of Ohio would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she did in Trumbull County, Ohio, by means of a fire or explosion, create a substantial risk of serious physical harm to any person other than the offender in Trumbull County, Ohio. As to count 6, the state of Ohio would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt to the aggravated arson that she did, by means of fire or explosion, cause physical harm to an occupied structure in Trumbull County, Ohio. Count 7, aggravated burglary, the state of Ohio would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she...
So anyway, she got, I think she got, she's going to get life in prison, and she's going to be eligible for parole in 35 years. So she got, I mean, that's I guess, I don't know, it's reasonable. Yeah, he I think he was under house arrest at home, something like that. But all right, so we're going to go to a spotlight case kind of here now, and we're going to play a little bit of it. This happened back in 1988, I think, and this is the case of Sue Swedell, and she went missing. Hold on a second. So Susan Swedell, who went by Sue, was only 19 years old when she vanished on her way home from work in January 19th, 1988. Hold on, let me share this. Okay. So that's her right there. Despite a 3-year gap between Christine and Sue, Christine said they were like twins. I talk like her, I laugh like her, I almost took her personality and meshed it into mine, Christine told Dateline. She just my very best friend. Their parents divorced when they were young, and the Swedell sisters became inseparable. She was very scholastic. She loved school, which a lot of kids don't. She was always studying. She loved going to church. She was just kind of all-American girl. After graduating from high school, Sue went to the University of, hold on a second, Wisconsin at River Falls. She got very homesick, and so she came back home. Sue decided she needed to get a job and ended up with 2. One was at a small clothing boutique called Body and Soul, and the other at Kmart. Both are probably not in business anymore. Christina said that Tuesday, January 19th, 1988 started out like any other day. They were having breakfast, and Christine remembered Mom left for work because Lake Elmo is quite a ways east of Minneapolis. So this happened in Minnesota, where their mother, Kathy, worked at the University of Minnesota. We had breakfast together, and then I left, and then Sue left for work. So she left for work. She opened a boutique at 9 o'clock in the morning, and her shift ended at 1 p.m. And then she headed for Kmart for a shift for 1:30. Wow. 2 jobs. Probably to pay for college. I hate when my computer jumps like that. Christina said that on a typical night, Sue would have been home by around 9:30, but that night would turn out to be anything but typical. There was a blizzard in Lake Elmo, and Sue would never make it home. She hated any wind. She hated any storms. Christine said Sue and her mother spoke briefly on the phone that evening. She was very scared of the weather, and Mom just took her time and said, "You need to be on the main roads." When Sue didn't come home, Christine and her mother knew something had to be wrong. All right, so let's play this here. That's the gas station there that she went missing from. This is the gas station where.
All of our cases are always assigned to a detective. They're always going to be actively worked if we get any tips in or anything like that. And Susan's case is no different than that.
So 19-year-old. There were blizzard conditions that night, and Sue was afraid of the storm. She was supposed to be home by 9:30. When she didn't arrive, her mother Kathy and her sister Christine grew worried.
So they were expecting her to be home, and she never arrived. So I believe that it was about 11 o'clock that Kathy, Susan's mom, called the sheriff's office to report that she hadn't come home. So eventually that night, deputies went around looking in ditches, and they found her car parked at a gas station.
So that's the gas station right there. I'm pretty sure it looked better at the time. I don't know if this is an actual picture of this. This was done by Dateline, I think. I don't know if this is how it looked then.
In Lake Elmo, and it was empty. It was locked. There was somebody that rolled up behind her afterwards. They did get out and they spoke for maybe 15 minutes, standing next to one another. And Susan came into the gas station, asked if she could park her car, and then they left.
Sue's sister Christine, who was only 16 at the time, so that's Christine there, and that's Sue there. Has anybody heard about this case? Have you heard about this case, Son Go? Yeah, very, very attractive, for sure. They both are. And you can tell this is the 1980s because of the hair, right? You don't see hair like this anymore.
You know, it just felt like she was gone.
The gas station attendant was interviewed multiple times over the years. She initially described the person who pulled in behind Sue as having sandy brown hair, shoulder length, and wearing a stocking cap. What's a stocking cap? Is that one of those about a decade after Sue vanished, police brought the attendant back in to create a composite sketch of the man Sue left with. Oh, that's a stocking cap right there. The details changed, and she remembered him having curly, almost black hair. So she changed her mind on the appearance. So they do have a sketch. That's good. Authorities consider that Sue might have left on her own, but they've found no evidence to suggest it. Does that even seem possible here in this case? I don't know.
We could never rule that out, that she didn't leave on her own. We have no reason to believe she did. We haven't had any evidence or tips come in that have been substantiated saying she's existing somewhere else or anything like that.
And yeah, I don't think this is a runaway. Not in a blizzard. Who runs away in a blizzard?
Mom and Sue and I were extremely close, and she wouldn't do that to us. She would never do that to her grandparents or.
You can always tell hairstyles by the genre, right? You go 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. They're all a little different.
Aunts and uncles. You know, she was so close to the family.
Texas follow-up leads that came in. This is good. So she left for 1/19/1988. I'll have to do a deep dive on that area there. The $25,000 reward. This was done. I don't know when this was done. This was done a while ago.
We've had leads, but obviously nothing goes anywhere. It's no closure.
That must be the mother. So last seen 1/19. I should copy this down. Any information, please contact Washington County Sheriff's Office in Minnesota. Hair looks a little different here, right? I wonder if this is probably the latest photo they had of her. She was 5'4", 100 pounds, which is tiny, with sandy brown hair at the time of her disappearance. She'd be the same age as me right now. All right, so let me get out of here. I do want to go here first. The Dorothy Hamill hair, yeah, Aquanet. Definitely hairspray. Hairspray was like one of those things. If you had a lot of hair, you probably had a lot of hairspray in there. So this is Lake Elmo here. It's again one of those communities there. I'll try to back out and see if I can. So here's Minneapolis. So it's basically due east of Minneapolis here. I wonder if that gas station is still there. You think that gas station is still there? There's an airport. Let me take a ride. Where the hell am I? Here we go with the maps thing again. I mean, it's a nice town, right? All right, so I'll keep that up. I'm going to go back out here again. Where the hell was I? Right here. Aquanet was like lacquer. I'm telling you, man. If only our kids could see us back then, right? My God. Yeah, I don't know who goes missing. I mean, it's possible. I don't want to say it's not possible because that's what happened to Mara Murray. It wasn't a blizzard, but it would have been very, very cold up there. But I don't think anybody voluntarily leaves in a snowstorm. I mean, it's possible. All right, let me get another thing pulled up here. Hold on a second. Got too many windows open. I'm sorry. 2 seconds here.
It was this day just about.
So we'll play this one here. I'll go back to that in a second there. I want to know where that gas station was. So this was done 2 years ago by Fox 9 out of Minneapolis. Let's try this here. I'll get rid of the subtitles here.
Time when Susan Swedell was last seen near Lake Elmo. That was 34 years ago, and still very few clues in her disappearance. There remains a $25,000 reward in the case.
But to drum up any new clues on this anniversary, the Washington County Sheriff's Department is trying a new social media approach. Fox 9's Rob Olson has the story of the huge hopes to solve a mystery.
It's not getting any easier. It's so different from a death in the family.
Time may heal most wounds, but in the case of Susan Swedell, the wound for her family just gets worse.
Every year, it just compounds.
Now, the 34th anniversary of Susan's disappearance near Lake Elmo, when she stopped.
There wasn't a better decade than the 80s, man. Late 70s, early 80s. I Want My MTV, right? Just great time. Great times. The malls, video recorders were just coming out. It was a great time. Great music, hair bands, AC/DC, all of that stuff.
At a gas station with car trouble in a blizzard 1 mile from home. Last seen getting in a car with a stranger. She was 19. Her sister, Christine, was 16.
It's continuous. It's there every single day. So it's not just on one day. Like January 19th today, it is every single day.
But anniversaries are always important dates to get attention again. Continue to press for any clues. A few years ago, it was with billboards. This year, the Washington County Sheriff's Department is trying a new approach. On Facebook throughout the day, serialized posts chronicling Susan's day of January 19th, 1988. 5 posts planned before the day ends.
We came about this idea to try something different, to try to generate talk all day long, not just once.
The sheriff says they figured instead of one post, why not try episodes? Anything, he says, to keep standing out. Now 34 years in.
If you're on during the day in the morning on social media, you'll see it. If you're on it at lunchtime, you'll see it at dinner time or at night.
Christine says family members have now been dying, never knowing what happened to Susan, and it's clearly on their mind as they go.
They had her picture next to them as when they passed.
Literally on the bedstand or right next to them.
Just one more reason to hope for a long-awaited break.
My mom is going on 80. It's just too many people are leaving. So many family members are gone and they never knew.
Rob Olson, Fox 9.
All right, let's go here. I think I just played that one. I want to find out where this gas station is actually located.
This is Sue at her graduation party at our other grandma's house.
Christine Swedell last saw her sister Susan exactly 32 years ago.
I've never been interviewed right on the day, so this is...
Yeah, it's awfully sad. What I've been doing is I've been just going state by state. A couple weeks ago, I did Jennifer Kessie from Florida. Then this one here, especially people who haven't been found. They're just sad. These cases are sad. And a lot of these are really old cases. 1988, unfortunately, was a long time ago.
Pretty hard.
On January 19th, 1988, Christine says Susan called home before leaving work. She stopped at a gas station because of...
What is this now? This is, okay, so this is holiday. I can't read that. Is that FX?
of car troubles in a blizzard and eventually got into a man's car, which left towards Susan's home.
It's the last time anybody had seen her.
Christine has tried to keep her sister's name in the news over the decades.
This picture is my favorite. This is another favorite picture of mine.
The Washington County Sheriff says his office continues to investigate Susan's disappearance. He says someone knows something. Ask Christine what it would mean for this case to be solved, and you get two answers.
We'd be so happy to finally see her and be with her and be able to be a family again. As for the other possibility, it would crush us.
She still looks up to her older sister.
She had a lot of strength, so I have to be strong. People tell us that you can go on, but you can't go on.
What she can do is hope.
I just would like to say something to her. I love you, Sue, and I'll never stop searching for you.
Aaron Adelson, KARE 11 News.
I mean, that's the stuff that really sucks, right? It's like you hear these stories and it's just, did I play this? Did I play that one there? Yeah, that's the Dateline one. I'm still searching for this gas station, but let's go back here. Right. Yeah, the Jennifer Kessie case is one of those cases. I reached out to the dad because I wanted to know if there was any issues with that car. GM had a lot of GM had a lot of issues, especially Chevy, with those between I would say 2002 and 2007 cars. That's the years where they had those horrible nightmares with the ignition. There was an issue with the relay switch from the ignition to the gas tank, and I know because I had Illumina. And the car would just shut off. The little car would just literally, you'd be driving it and the car would just lose all power. And you had no steering, no brakes, nothing. And you'd go to try to start it again after you stopped it and it wouldn't start. But if you wiggled the key just enough in the right way, it would, it was just a weird thing and nobody knew how to fix them. They all told you to bring the car back to the GM dealer and they would change the fuel pump. And of course it wasn't the fuel pump. So you'd still have that problem. So I think they ended up recalling a lot of those cars here. Vapor lock. Yeah, it was a definitely, I just got rid of the car. I wanted to blow the damn thing up. Nobody knew how to fix it. It was something in the computer system, the relay switch from the ignition switch all the way back to the gas tank. It would just shut off. It just and it was really dangerous. I think a couple people actually died The GM got sued. Right, so going back to this here. She was just having her first car troubles and panicked like any other teenager. I just feel so bad for this person. Driving through the blizzard like that, now you have car troubles. And she was just right around the gas station on Stillwater Boulevard. I gotta do this here. Hold on a second. Okay, and she stopped and went into the gas station. Christina told Dateline that her sister asked if she could leave her car at the gas station that night. The attendant told Sue to park it in a certain area. Sue went ahead and did that. The gas attendant also told. This is why I wanted to know if anybody interviewed. Hey, Frosty, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you, buddy. Are you still in Vegas? Where's Barbara Hall? Is Barbara Hall still in here? Because this is what I wanted to know if, if anybody interviewed the person that was working that night where Timothy Dees went when he was playing it, but she told me that nobody interviewed that person. So the gas station attendant also told authorities that she had seen a car pull up behind Sue. Sue spoke with the man for a couple of minutes before she asked the attendant if she could leave her car at the station. There was somebody that rolled up behind Sue Blake, so that must be the person that was working. They spoke for about maybe 15 minutes standing next to one another. Yeah, the person that picked this person up is probably the person that unalived her or did something with her. She was okay. Sue got into the car of this person that she was talking to, and she was last seen going in the direction of the house. She knew obviously about stranger danger and all of that, but if she is so upset about the weather and getting scared about her first car issues, I believe that she would do that. That's sad. That's just sad. You left Friday, so you're back. Did you ever get rid of that woman that was following you? Just kidding. I'm just kidding. We like Frosty. Frosty's freaking awesome. All right, so let me see here. In a second, I want to play something else here. 2 seconds. I'm going to try to find this gas station here. Where's this here? Hold on a second. I'm going to try to find this gas station. Okay, so this is the corner of Stillwater Boulevard, 40th Street North. I did it. Oklahoma, Minnesota. You see a gas station? It's right there. So this must be the gas station here. Right there. That's the gas station. wonder if there was a payphone here. All right. Well, I mean, I'll have to. All right. So hold on a second. Let me read. Hope you're doing all right, buddy. Let's go back to the write-up here. The good news about this case here is there's plenty of information. Now, some of these cases, you know, you got to subscribe to this newspaper thing, and you can't find anything anyways. I tried doing that last week for another case. It's just so sad. There's no information. Christina remembers when the police came back to the house to tell us Swedell about finding Sue's car. When they came to the house, I ran up the stairs, and I just felt like she was gone. That's just awful. Trantham told Dateline that Kathy Swedell picked up the car the following day and took it home. They didn't seize the car? Why wouldn't they seize her car? Five days later, she actually drove the car into the grocery store in Stillwater, and the car started smoking, steaming on the way there. At the bottom of the radio, there was a drain plug. It was called a petcock, and the mechanic determined that the drain plug of the radio had been loosened, and so coolant had leaked, causing the car to overheat. Why didn't they seize the car? So there's speculation that maybe it was Susan, that maybe it was what Susan was experiencing that night on the way home. Why would this thing be loosened? I wonder what kind of a car it was. There it is, right there. Transom told Dateline that the mechanic believed that someone would have had to have tampered with it. That's right. Those things just don't unscrew by themselves. But authorities had no proof of that. That's interesting. I don't know why they didn't seize that car. That's so horrible. That's evidence right there, man. They probably could have gotten some fingerprints off of that if that was tampered with, because that's what it seems like to me. I know what that thing is, and you just don't. You know, you could maybe claim that maybe she went over some snow and it got loosened, it was rusted or something, but you just can't. I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm just saying I would have taken that car in. The detectives began interviewing people in Susan's circle. Deputies and detectives interviewed employees and supervisors. That's who I would have talked to. Maybe somebody else who was working at that gas station, but maybe at the other job, since she had gone to I wonder if the person that did something to her worked at her first job. Detectives and deputies interviewed employees and supervisors of both their jobs. Everybody at work really described her as being pleasant. Yeah, that's always the same case, right? They learned that there had been some strange phone call activity at Sue's job at the Body and Soul Boutique. I wonder what that is. A co-worker told investigators that a male had been calling for her like a couple of weeks or so leading up to the disappearance. They never identified the person. Detectives also interviewed the gas station attendant on multiple occasions over the years. I think they're barking up the wrong tree here with this. So they talked to a lot of people. But I would have, I would have definitely taken that car into custody, at least to get some forensics off the car. But you can't do that now. Yeah, you just don't unscrew those things. I wish I knew what kind of a car that was. All right, so I think that's it for that. I'll have to do some more about that there. All right, so did I do this already with you guys with the Susan Boone thing? Let's do this here. I'll try to get more information on this case here, but I would have definitely taken that car into custody. I gotta ask Steve that. That's bizarre why they wouldn't take the car. You just get a search warrant for the car. You take the car. All right, so this is going back to this crazy lady here with the guy in the suitcase thing here. This case is going to go on forever and ever. It's like the Karen Reed case is going to go forever and ever and ever, and everybody knows this person's guilty. She's had eight defense attorneys by the state defense attorneys, and she's gotten rid of every single one of them. And now the judge has ordered her that she's going to have to defend herself so we can get on with this case and everybody can go about their lives here. So this is pro SC defense here.
At a last-minute hearing from...
I think she's claiming that he was abusive to her, or something like that. I don't know.
The judge granted Boone's former attorney's motion to withdraw and ruled that the defendant has forfeited her right to counsel because of her ongoing difficulties with every single attorney, 8 of them. Boone is accused of murdering her boyfriend. This is the victim here, Jorge Torres on the right. She admitted to...
Has anybody heard about this case? This person here allegedly put this guy here, lured him into a suitcase and left him there basically to unalive in the suitcase while taunting the guy. And then they were both drinking. And then this person here, Sarah Boone, did I say Susan Boone? Sarah Boone, just literally went to sleep while this guy got unalived in the suitcase. You can't make this stuff up.
Zipping him up inside of the suitcase where he died. But she maintains that the death was accidental after a night of heavy drinking. Now, given Boone's track record of being difficult with attorneys and with judges, what will her pro se defense look like now? Well, let's take a look back together at some of Court TV's most memorable pro se defendants.
If you're going to force me to go to close, I mean, again, it's a mistrial.
Excuse me, sir?
It would be a mistrial, Your Honor. You're not allowing me to provide a defense.
Sir, you can state and twist and spin whatever you'd like to.
To think that the jury is going to be able to ever come anywhere close to a verdict of beyond reasonable doubt, I don't see it.
He's playing a fraudulent damn recording of me beating Kenyatta Barron 15 damn times when that did not happen.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Look at the way this judge is looking at this guy.
And like I told you earlier, you will know the truth,
Oh
whether
my
in
gosh.
this trial or the next.
Your life is not on the line. Mine is. And you think that I think this is funny?
I don't think it's funny whatsoever.
So
I gotta see that again.
Of me beating Kenyatta Barron 15 damn times when that did not happen. And like I told you earlier, you will know the truth whether.
Apparently, they're trying to mock people trying to defend themselves in court. It's just this look here is classic. Sorry.
Your life is not on the line. Mine is. And you think that I think this is funny?
I don't think it's funny whatsoever.
So I think, Your Honor, with all due respect, I think you should show some respect.
Do not interrupt, Attorney Upper.
So,
Your Honor, I believe he has 7 prior criminal convictions. The OWI 2nd from 1997, and OWI 3rd from 1997, and OWI 4th from 2003. Criminal trespass to dwelling from 2006.
Right, I need to take a break. This man right now is having a stare down with me.
This is like, oh Lord, you can't do it. You can't.
Very disrespectful. He pounded his fist. Frankly, it makes me scared.
Oh, I remember those moments, and I know you do too. Let me bring in our guest now. She's the Director of Prosecution Projects at Florida International University and a former homicide prosecutor. Melba Pearson's with us. Melba, I know you remember all those moments too. My gosh, you were giving us analysis for all those cases. Ooh, Sarah Boone, what is her defense going to look like now that she's going pro se? What are you expecting from her, Melba?
Hello, Ms. Persevere. How are you? Good to see you. That was probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Look, this is what I talk about all the time when it comes to really dumb criminals, right? Like they just keep talking and talking and talking and talking. They never shut up. You go and watch some of these interrogations. I'd love to watch them sometimes because the suspect will they just don't shut up in these interrogations. And you can tell that they're just, not going to do themselves any good by talking and talking. And if you represent yourself in court, you better know what the hell you're talking about.
A hot mess, Julie. A hot mess. Just quite frankly, because pro se trials tend to be very disorganized and messy. When you think about the fact that the average person, and this is not meant in any type of way, but just the average person is not familiar with.
Miss Persevere has a great channel too. Go check her out. She's great. I subbed. And like I said, if anybody wants a wrench so they can, if they have channels, if they want to promote their channels or other channels, let me know. The more we get the word out to these, some of these cases here that don't get a lot of the spotlight, the better.
Legal terminology, legal procedure, how to introduce evidence, how to make arguments. You can watch court TV all you want, but that does not necessarily give you the ammunition you need to be able to effectively try a case on your own without legal representation. I mean, we went to law school for 3 years and, tried a bunch of cases and went through, years of training in the trenches doing this work. So it's kind of hard to come off the street and then, try to advance your defense. Now, people have done so successfully, but many times the people who choose to do
this woman here thinks she's fooling everybody. She's not fooling anybody. She just ain't.
So maybe struggling with some mental health issues, look, just a lot of times are not really eloquent in the way they're able to present their defense. So it generally harms the pro se defendant because, again, things are very chaotic. The jury's not always able to follow. And more often than not, it results in a verdict of guilty.
Mm-hmm. You're right, Melba. Everything you said, you are spot on, my friend.
it's just, some things you can't do by yourself. I mean, some people, that are, at least they probably might have read. I know one guy, it was a cold case. One guy was convicted of an unaliving, and he, I forget the guy's name, but when he got in jail, he started to read books and became basically very educated on, law and stuff like that. And he ended up getting, I forget what state it was, but he ended up getting one of the innocent projects to look over his case because he, did the time, looked it up, and they ended up taking his case. And they ended up basically proving that he didn't do it. There was two unknown male DNAs there, and they ended up finding that he wasn't there at all. It was somebody else, and they so it can be done. I'm just saying you got to have some brains for it. You can't just I don't know. This woman here is, my opinion, she's fairly guilty, and there's just obvious.
I think in a weird way, Sarah Boone might actually enjoy this, because as you were talking about, you got me thinking about how law school is no easy feat. And then after law school, you've got to go through the bar examination, which is really difficult. And then practicing, if you take that step and trying cases. And Sarah Boone, I think she fancies herself as a lawyer. I mean, perhaps she should have been a lawyer, because I've read her letters. I know you have too. And I mean, she's citing the law. I think she's kind of become like a jailhouse lawyer. Do you think in a weird way she may actually like this? Maybe it's a little bit of freedom for her. I don't know.
Southern Gal is a dear friend. She's a very good person. Her channel is absolutely amazing. She does tremendous work on the missing, all of this stuff. I can't say enough about how great Southern Gal is. And I appreciate her posting all of these channels in the chat. But in reality, she's remarkable.
I mean, I definitely see the opportunity for her to enjoy it, because number one, the spotlight is fully on her. So she is able to tell her story however she sees fit. Now, will that be within the bounds of, the law? That's a separate issue, because of course there's certain things, as we know, that are admissible and that are not admissible, and all of that. But I think
we need more people like Southern Gal, Miss Persevere, Honeybee, because it's one of those things where a lot of these cases, I mean, not this case that we're talking about right now, but some of these other cases that kind of go under the radar, nobody's going to talk about. So it's good to have people like Southern Gal, Miss Persevere, all of these different types of creators that bring out the awareness. I would have never known anything about Timothy Dees if it wasn't for Southern Gal and Barbara Hall. So it's important.
You will enjoy and feel empowered, but will that result in the outcome she wants? Probably not.
That's why I'm never going to mind people posting other channels in this chat, because it's what we have. We have social media, right? And this is the way to do social media the right way when it comes to this shit. It's all about the victims, all about the victims' families, and trying to get at least some answers. It's what it's all about. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that.
I think you're exactly right. As per usual, Melba Pearson, we always love having you on the show. Thank you for sharing your expertise. We'll see you soon.
All right, so that's the end of that. I was going to do a little on the Tropics, but I've been here for, 2 hours now, I think. Yeah, 2 hours. So that's probably going to do it for me. But if you live, let's play this. Hold on a second. I'll just play this here. But I've been following this storm here for a while. So if you live anywhere from, I'd say, Corpus Christi all the way up to Houston, even into parts of Louisiana here,
that tropical moisture too, down thanks to Beryl out in the Gulf of.
So this was done 2 hours ago, and right now this is not looking all that great in the Gulf here, but it's going to have enough time to re-intensify So maybe a Cat 1 or Cat 2 by the time it hits here. And then it's going to go all the way up into Arkansas here as kind of like a low pressure system here. But there we go.
Of Mexico, and then over the south and east, we've already got plenty of moisture to work with. So lots of heavy moisture could lead to some good heavy downpours. Now, Tropical Storm Beryl is expected to make landfall late tomorrow into Monday as a hurricane Category 1 status. Now, we've got lots of storm surge concerns developing here from.
See this area right in here on the eastern side of this. So if this comes up and hits somewhere, whoops. Where the hell is that sound coming from?
Bay City from Port Lavaca, 4 to 6 foot storm surge, 3 to 5 foot from Galveston, and as we move into the Port Arthur area. So watching for those chances for including the heavy downpours. On top of that, the rainfall totals might be pretty intense out there with this narrow swath. It's looking as if this is going to miss Houston for the worst of the weather.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So anywhere from, I would say, a little bit due north of Corpus Christi here to Houston, if this comes in like this here to Bay City or somewhere around here, everything's going to be, the dirty side of what they call is going to be on the right side. So you're going to see a tremendous amount of water here. I wish you'd get out of the way, but this is the Louisiana border here. So you could see 5 or 6, some spots, maybe even up to 10 inches of water here. And that's a lot of rain in a very short period of time.
There's some of those rainfall totals could still come up, of course, anywhere from 2 to 5 inches in that area. But the heaviest of rain may have a very narrow path that takes some of the strongest thunderstorm rain bands from the system, from the hurricane, as it makes landfall to Corsicana as we go up through Paris and then Idabel into Oklahoma and Fort Smith. So very heavy rain possibilities. But as we mentioned, this looks like it's going to be a narrow path. We still have lots of good tropical moisture that will be.
See, they got, hold on a second, they got 10 inches maybe right in this area here, Corsicana. But these outer rain bands, I'm telling you, you can see pop-up tornadoes, especially on the eastern side of this, into Baton Rouge, depending on where these rain bands set up shop here. The tornado threat is going to go all the way up in here.
We still have lots of good tropical moisture that will be overhead for us as we go into the next couple of days. And watching those tropical gusts, not really intense yet, but tomorrow as it becomes intensified right near the coast, likely see.
All right, so just stay safe. I might come on later this morning and do another live. I had another page open where I think it was back on the Susan Swedell case that started playing in the background here, and I was trying to figure out what the hell. I'm glad you didn't hear it. But anyways, I'm going to get the hell out of here. I want to thank everybody for coming in. I appreciate everybody for being here, all the support and everything. I want to thank everybody who watches on the replay. I don't shout them out enough. People on the replay, I notice that you watch, so I really appreciate that. Go check out Southern Gal if you haven't. Go check out Miss Persevere if you haven't. Anybody that's got a channel, Mr. Steve. Hope they stay safe, him and Ruckus. I know they're going on the road soon. So Mr. Steve's a national treasure, literally. He's such a great guy. Ruckus is too, even though he's, but anyways, I want to thank Miss Persevere. Thank you very much for coming in. Southern Gal, you're awesome. You know you are. Mitzi Scott, thank you so much. Get a look-see. Thank you. I know Frosty was in here like the ghost again. Thank you, Frosty. Go check out his channel too. Him and Fire and Ice. Mark, excellent channel. Barbara Hall, thank you. You're awesome. You're always in our thoughts. Get some answers here fairly shortly for you. Who else was in here? I know Karen Lee was in here for a little while. She's busy. Good person. Who else was in here? My thoughts go out to Miranda Lee too. Miranda Lee's awesome. Trying to figure out who else was in here. If I miss anybody, I'm sorry. It's just me being me. Dandy was in here. Dandy Linus is awesome. She's an awesome person. She helps out in all these chats. Can't do it without people like that. Just can't do it. All right, so I'm going to get out of here. If I missed anybody, like I said, thank you. And I'll see you guys. Everybody stay safe, especially if you're in Texas. And I'll get out of here. Everybody have a good rest of the weekend. I'll play my outro and get out of here. And thank you for the owl that was here, my barred owl.